What's going on, guys? Bulls React back here with another reaction and review because we're going to have to change up Teen Wolf on how it is done. Uh, I'm able to upload, I'm able to get everything in, and then a couple days later, the studios come in and they block my videos. So we're going to have to switch it up. So for going forward from this point on YouTube, I'm going to have to just show some of the key points of the episode and then we'll review the entire episode. That's how this is going to work from now on. The full reaction episodes are on Patreon, so if you are interested in that, you can join. Patreon link is down below, so make sure you check that out for full episode reactions if you'd like to see the whole thing. But outside of that, let's get into this reaction and review, and I hope you enjoy.
Hoosiers is not only the best basketball movie ever, it is the best sports movie ever made.
No.
Lydia, I swear to God you're gonna like it.
No.
She looks so bored. She's like, no.
I am not watching The Notebook again. Can somebody help me find The Notebook?
These things are non-existent now. Like, these don't exist. It's like Blockbuster. That's what it reminds me of. They still have VHS tapes too. That wasn't this made in like 2011? Blockbuster was already gone, so. Uh-oh. His marks are glowing on the back of his neck from when Derek stabbed him.
That he's killing people, but I don't get why. I mean, this isn't standard practice, right? We don't go out in the middle of the night murdering everyone, do we?
No. We're predators. You don't have to be killers.
So that's weird. Scott and Derek are on the same team now. And there's that circle.
With him, he kills you.
Okay, seriously? Who made up these rules?
It's a rite of passage into his pack.
Why can't you just find him yourself? Why can't you just sniff him out when he's a human?
Because his human scent could be entirely different. It has to be you. You have a connection with him, a link that you can't understand. If I can teach you to control your abilities, you can find him.
It's a family heirloom. And you know me, I hate and loathe all sentimental crap. But that, well, look at the symbol in the middle of the pendant. See that?
Yeah.
You ever want to learn a little something about your family? Look it up.
Ooh.
I don't know where Scott is.
I'm not here for Scott. I'm here for you.
Why me? I didn't do anything.
No, but you saw something.
I didn't see anything.
Yeah,
I'm not lying.
he can tell.
What?
Finally, have you been getting any of my texts? Yeah, like all 9 million of them.
Do you have any idea what's going on? Lydia's totally MIA. Jackson looks like he's got a time bomb inserted into his face. Another random guy's dead, and you have to do something about it.
Like what?
Something.
Honey, there's a Styles here to see you.
What the hell is a Styles? What are you doing here?
I was just making sure you were okay.
Mesa. Mountain Lion.
What's this?
A mountain lion.
Okay. It's a text. I don't know how to...
Yeah, so not a mountain lion.
Going home?
Oh, he's here.
Too bad your sister bit it before she had her first litter.
Too bad she howled like a bitch when we cut her in half.
What are you knew that was gonna happen.
Which is why I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. And well, maybe we can help each other out.
Yes, your sister was severed into pieces and used as bait to try to catch you.
Now, here's the part that might really kick you in your balls.
We didn't kill her.
Found bite marks on your sister's body, Derek. What do you think did that?
Let me tell you, there's plenty to say about Lydia.
Did I not predict this?
Here we go. Total nuclear meltdown as usual.
I wasn't aware that there was a problem. Academically, Lydia is one of the finest students I've ever had. Her AP classes push her GPA above a 5.0. I'd actually like to have her IQ tested. And socially, She displays outstanding leadership qualities. I mean, she's a real leader.
Great kid, zero ability to focus. Super smart, never takes advantage of his talents.
Yeah.
Where exactly have you been?
Nowhere, Mom.
Nowhere meaning not at school.
What is everybody doing? I mean, I know they're running, but oh, he's getting a gun. People don't watch where you're going. Why do I feel like it's going to be an actual mountain lion this time? Told you. Alright guys, let's get into the review of this episode. I thought it was really good. It's episode 5. It was okay. It wasn't really... There was a lot of key things that came across. But it was a good episode nonetheless. You know, at the end I figured it was going to be a mountain lion that they came across just to throw off the game. It's just how it works. It's how it goes. Not really... so much on the Scott and Allison story of them ditching class. So, I mean, I really didn't care too much about that. But the rest of it was pretty good. Especially this part, the beginning. Like I said, video stores are obsolete now. I just thought that was hilarious. You still see VHS tapes over here. And it's just like, these things are so gone by now. There's nothing, I don't think there's hardly any video stores left. If you still have one in your town, take full advantage of it. Kudos to you, because this is a thing of long past now, I think. So, there is nothing... We have nothing down here where I am at as far as video stores go at all. So it's just, it's like I said, it's obsolete to this point. But the episode itself, I thought it was really funny. He's trying to get Lydia to watch something other than The Notebook. Ends up going to get The Notebook anyways. But it comes across the dead guy, the dead clerk in this episode. The video store guy, he's dead. And, you know, this is where Jackson comes... You know, this guy looks like his throat got pretty well ripped out there. I mean, that's pretty disgusting looking. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty deep cuts there that the alpha did. But this is where Jackson first time sees the alpha wolf. You know, she has no clue. Lydia's outside taking selfies. No idea what's going on. She's just is she that self-absorbed that, you know, that's kind of like what I'm getting at. Or trying to figure out with her. Is she that much of an attention girl that she needs, you know? I mean, I don't know. But what was interesting to me is how the alpha left Jackson alone. He got him down and everything to where he was. And... you know, went to get to his neck right there with the claws and everything. And I thought that was really interesting how the back of Jackson's neck, how his claws start glowing. I don't understand that, like why that happened. I don't know if it's because the alpha's around and he has that kind of power, I guess. And since it was a different werewolf maybe, and he's not of his pack, maybe that's the reason why he left Jackson alone. Maybe that's the only thing I can think of, is that because Derek's not a part of this alpha pack, that it's kind of like Jackson's marked by Derek now type of thing, you know, like the alpha sees it as Jackson belongs to Derek type of deal. I would think that's the only thing I can think of at this point. Like that's the only thing, like the whole entire episode when I was watching it, I'm just like, maybe that's just what it was. So yeah, but this part right here, when Stiles and his dad shows up, and Jackson's just going off on his dad. You know, Jackson's just yelling at his face. Me personally, as a law enforcement, I would have arrested him. I'm not gonna lie. I would have thrown him in jail. I kind of get, I guess, where Stiles' dad's coming from and why he's caring, and why he didn't do anything, is because of what Jackson had just gone through, or at least for what Stiles' dad thinks that he went through with the mountain lion. Maybe that's the reason why he didn't do anything, but I thought it was very, like, that's just one of those things I don't know. And of course, Derek telling Scott that, you know, he's basically has to be trained by Derek. Derek's telling him that he needs to focus all of his time on his training. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think Scott can definitely lived both lives, being a werewolf and being a high school student. I get that there's an alpha out there and he wants Scott to be a part of his pact and he's out to get him. But I think Derek's pushing a little bit too. I think Derek's too focused on his wolf life that he doesn't lead a normal life, I guess you would say, because Derek's just so wrapped up in what he is. And I think he's trying to get Scott in that world too, and Scott doesn't want any part of it. So I thought that was really interesting. And I totally agree with Scott. I think he could have both. I think he could be werewolf and high school student. But then we moved to her aunt after that, and what I thought was really interesting about I think this is the first time where you're actually going to see maybe Allison learn a little bit about her family as hunters. Because like her aunt said, if you want to know more about your family, look it up, and it's the emblem. She tells her what the emblem is, the centerpiece and all that, and what it ties to, but not necessarily what it ties to, because she didn't go into too much detail, because she wants Allison to look it up. I don't know if that's you have to learn about it on your own type of situation, like she's not allowed to explain it to her, or she's giving her that choice that if you want this type of life, then look into it, type of deal. So I don't exactly know what's going on there. This I could really care less about. Like the whole Allison Scott skipping school for Allison's birthday just to have a good time, I really didn't care too much about. I didn't. I don't care throughout the entire episode of them two skipping class off in the woods. But Derek coming to see Jackson I thought was interesting, because I think this is the first time you see that a wolf can tell that you're lying by the beat of your heart. They're listening to your heartbeat when you're telling them something, as long as you say it slow enough that they can understand and they can listen for that heartbeat to see if it skips or not. So I thought that was really interesting. But like I said, I could care less about the Scott and Allison thing being in the woods. But I did find interesting. I felt so bad for Stiles right here in this part of the episode, because Stiles was, we all know Stiles has a thing for Lydia. He has definite feelings. Feelings are there. We know this. We can see it. And she's so drugged up that she's not really all coherent. And when she asked him to stay, I thought it was like a legit thing. But, and then she said, Jackson, please stay. So she's thinking Stiles is Jackson. I really liked how Stiles didn't take advantage of that situation, though. I thought that was really, really cool of him. Any other, I hate to say any other guy because it's not true. But a lesser guy would have totally took advantage of that situation. And it was really cool to see Stiles rise above that, especially when it comes to Lydia, because he has such strong feelings for her that the second she says Jackson's name and he was like, okay, yeah, no, well, that's the end of that, and this is over. That really says something about Stiles as a person, and I really like that about that. But of course, Stiles finding her phone and seeing that Lydia had captured the alpha wolf on it. I thought that was really interesting. This I enjoyed immensely. I couldn't get into a lot of this on, of course, right here on YouTube, but the fact that the hunters are showing up to Derek's place and kind of luring him out. She's like toying with him, it seems, and she has this thing about calling him out, making sure that using puns about them killing his sister and all this to lure him out in order for her to electrocute him, which we find out there that wolves are one of their weaknesses in this episode, or at least in this episode, you finally find out that one of the weaknesses of the werewolf, besides the silver bullet or a magical bullet, is electricity. They can't withstand high voltage electricity. I think she said it was like 900,000 volts or something like that, almost 1 million volts that she shocked him with. So I thought that was very interesting. And also, you learn the key secret that, that her family and them had nothing to do with his sister's death. That they found bite marks on him, or on her, which led to believe that the alpha most likely killed Derek's sister as well. So I think that is going to give Derek a little bit more a little bit more push on the Alpha on trying to find him. I think it's going to lead to a bigger rivalry, I guess you would say. I would think, because now he knows that a werewolf killed, or at least he would think that, we would think that the Alpha is the reason behind his sister's death. So that was another cool aspect. I didn't get to show this scene, but the fact that this dude is being so sketchy, Scott's boss is being so sketchy about the animal attacks, it makes me wonder what he's involved in with it, because he doesn't want to talk about it. He acted very shady to the point, and now I'm wondering if he's involved somehow with the wolves or something. Like, what is his? He has a deeper thing, I think, in this than just being Scott's boss. I think he is something else, if he's not a wolf himself. But I think there's a bigger thing going on there that he is not letting on. The parent-teacher conference was something where I thought was really good. You learned a lot of things, like Jackson having to be perfect at everything. I thought that was really cool. That gave you a deeper character development for Jackson. Also, Lydia, the fact that her parents refuse to believe that Lydia's doing good in school. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they refuse to believe it, but when the teacher said, they wanted to talk about Lydia, the dad immediately jumped in and was like, all right, yeah, so tell me, is it her grades or what? And actually, the twist is you find out Lydia is actually a genius, which I think is really cool. We've seen it in a couple episodes where she says something really smart and then she pretends to play dumb all of a sudden. And I started to pick up on it, especially at the bowling thing. When the first time she did it was at the lunch table, and I want to say it was possibly the third episode when they went on the group date. But then at the bowling thing, she said it again, or she said something else and pretended not to know the answer to it. But the fact that she is apparently a genius, because they want to get her IQ tested. She has a 5.0 GPA with her AP classes. That is one smart lady. So I'm very interested to see. I hope that they go into that more. I want to see Lydia grow. I don't want to see her stuck as a character who is just in attention, has to be the girlfriend of a winner. The things that she is now, I don't agree with. I think there's a lot more to Lydia than meets the eye, and I hope that they go into a deeper story with her. I mean, I know we're only in the 5th episode, and it might develop over time, but hopefully she has some good character development, because the fact that she is so smart, I want to see them kind of tie into that. And then Stiles was another one. His inability to focus on schoolwork is a key point, because I think if it's not, I think it's like a contradiction to itself. I think Stiles is very smart as well, as long as he has something that is interesting to him, because schoolwork and stuff, like the coach said, he did a paper on something historical when he teaches economics. But when it comes to the werewolf stuff, you can see Stiles is so involved. He does all of his research. He's looks into everything. So I thought that was an interesting key development as well. And then of course we come to the end of the episode. Basically, Scott, Allison come back from the woods. They're in trouble for ditching school for the day. Like I said, I could care less about. But then we have the mountain lion that attacks the school grounds. One of the interesting things that I thought, and I think it's actually a mix. I think they mix both together. Might have been a mountain lion on the ground, but I think the alpha was there as well, because Scott was really picking up on something. And there was one moment when, and I don't know if I can find it here, but there was a moment when Stiles' dad, before he gets hit by the car, I highly doubt I'm going to be able to find it, but the moment when he gets hit, or right before he gets hit, something black runs across the back of the cars, and then the mountain lion itself is orange or yellow whenever they come up to it. So I think that that's a thing that I think they were both there regardless. And I think the alpha just kind of got out of there before anybody can notice. But like I said, all in all, I think it was a good episode. I really enjoyed the key points. One, we learned the weaknesses of the wolves, that they can't withstand high voltage of electricity. I thought that was interesting. We learned the key point that the Argents had nothing to do with Derek's sister's murder, so we still don't know what happened to her. We know that she had bite marks now, but we don't know exactly what happened. I think the Alpha has something to do with Derek's sister's death, and I think that's going to push Derek more into finding the Alpha and possibly even killing the Alpha if possible. But I think that's going to lead into that coming up. So, like I said, outside of that, I could really care less about Scott Allison, the whole ditch day, none of that. Like, it doesn't matter to me. But few key concepts to take away from it. And like I said, overall, I enjoyed the episode for what it was. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, this is going to be a new thing going forward. I know it looks kind of weird because of the reaction to me. It's just I recorded this for Patreon for the full reaction, and then I had to go back and edit. And like I said, I'm able to get everything uploaded to YouTube. It's good for a couple of days, but then the studios come in and block it. So I think I'm showing, and I'm not showing too much of the episode. It's just like I do any other show. So I don't know if just they don't want Teen Wolf reactions on YouTube, because I don't see a lot of Teen Wolf reactions anymore. I don't know if it's a thing of the past or what, or that it's just not allowed. But I figured we would do the key concepts going forward and some reviews. But like I said, if you want to watch the full reactions to these episodes, check out my Patreon down below. You can watch, you can check it out. And if you are interested in supporting, it's just as low as $2 a month, guys. And that will get you full episode reactions of all Teen Wolf. And outside of that, guys, I want to give a shout out to my Patreons. I appreciate the support, as well as everybody on YouTube with a like, comment, anything like that. You guys, make sure you leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought about this episode in particular. And we'll be back again with the next one. And until next time, for the next reaction, we'll see you then.